Okay, let's call the meeting to order at 11 a.m. I want to remind everybody, this is a public business meeting and not an open meeting, okay? All right, can we have a motion to accept the agenda? Tara, can we have a second?
I'll second.
All right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, let's go to the meeting minutes. Everybody had a chance? Lots. We have lots, yeah. So let's be specific. Let's do the last meeting was April. Did everybody have a chance to review those? If so, can we have a motion to approve the April board meeting minutes? Tara? A second?
I'll second.
Okay. Roll call vote. All in favor? Tara?
Aye.
Crystal?
Aye.
Kelly?
Aye.
Austin?
Aye.
Lori?
Aye.
Okay. April board meeting minutes are approved. Now we have a couple of special meeting minutes. 3. The first one is,
You should get past those all together and have some of these questions.
okay, so remind me of the 3.
Go down.
One was to, the ballot make it allowable so that the members could vote individually on the proposed bylaws. To individual. Okay, and the next one?
That was the second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the first one?
Procedures.
Procedures and rules for annual meeting.
That was May 10.
Okay.
You had May 4.
And the last one was for crystal resolutions. That was done last week.
May 27.
Okay? All right. If there are no objections, can we have a motion to pass all 3?
I so moved.
Lori?
I'll second.
And Tara seconded. Roll call vote. Tara?
Aye.
Lori?
Aye.
Austin?
Aye.
Kelly?
Aye.
Crystal?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. All right, let's go to the financials. We are going to do something not different. We had been doing this, consistently, where we reviewed every single thing on the financials, okay? And we've had so much on the agendas that we've gotten away from that. And so we're gonna go back to that today. We're gonna review them line item by line item. So, Teresa, I'm gonna let you do this part.
All right, question for you guys, do you want me to go through the statement of net position, or are you okay
Yes.
with me starting at page 5? Which is your statement of revenues, expense, and change in net position.
I want you to start at the beginning. This is what we used to do.
Okay, page number 2. Total checking in savings as of April 30th, 2024 is $1,750,077.55. Construction bank accounts, $1,645,839.78. Designated accounts, $4,669,617.97. And then your monthly water receivable of $495,535.69. And if you, in there, you'll see there's prepaid postage, prepaid insurance, it's just through accrual software. Total other current assets of $6,856,146, for a total of $8,606,178.01. In the plant, we have $53,942,941. These are fixed assets. Restricted funds, these are your CDs, 2,092,105.18. Payment and debt reserve, money market debt reserve, 343,301.07, and money market payment reserve of 1,701,416.94, for a total of 2,044,718. Construction in progress. Total construction in progress is 9,809,296.22. Total other assets of 13,946,119.41, for total assets of 76,495,239.40. Flip the page. Page 3. Liabilities and net position. Accounts payable, you'll see those there. Capital 1, 7,566.08, and the accounts payable were 126,701.29. Payroll accruals. Total payroll accruals of 55,763.46. Accrued expense of 326,813.66. And then we have current portion of long-term debt is 1,278,309.66. We have security deposit of 25,353.59. We have unearned revenue from Montreal Phase 2 and 3 project of 55,620. Total liabilities of 1,741,860.37. Total current liabilities of 1,876,127.74.
Are there any questions on what we've just reviewed so far? We're good? Okay.
Page 4 is your long-term liabilities. All these are the breakdowns of all your debt. Your debt totals 28,603,910.40. Other long-term liability, 337,409.57. That's the Water Sense program. That's what's in there. We're keepers of the funds. Total long-term liabilities of 28,941,319.97, and our total liabilities of 30,817,447.71. Net position. We have in capital assets, we have 33,870,18. Restricted debt service is 3,837,342. Restricted for construction is 1,645,839. Unrestricted net portion position is 6,324,608.92, for a total net position of 45,677,791.69. We're going to go to page 5, which is your statement of revenue, expense, and change in net position. And this gives you for the month of April, and then if you go across, it gives you your year-to-date, which those numbers should match just what we talked about. Okay, we had water sales income of 489,975.61. Just started to use the water station. We have user agreement income of 10,000, transfer fee income of 550, sewer of 3894.50, and lake penalty income of 5,130, for a total operating income of 509,676 cents. Miscellaneous income 5,188.43. Non-inventory revenue of 7,113.89, for a total operating income of 521,903.08 for the month of April. All right, expenses. You have your sewer expense there of 2,304.42, water purchase of 88,419.40. One call, that's your 811, $320.50. We have administrative, $23,419.71. Field staff, $36,334.82. Board members, $600. Fringe benefits, $18,094.53. And then our payroll taxes on top of that for $4,700. Labor comes to $83,149.17 for the month of April. Transportation, your total, in that transportation, you've got your vehicle repairs, maintenance, and fuel. That's $5,534.87. You have our skid steer lease for $706.75. Then if you jump down into the next category, this is electrical. They're all broke down. This is operation and maintenance total of $177,163.70. If you look at that, we break out the treatment plant from distribution. You have electrical treatment at the plant of $6,241.62. The pumping, that's all your pump stations, of $9,130.21. Your chemicals of $13,141.45. Your treatment supplies of $20,456.94. Oh, that's chemical, excuse me. I'm down the line here. Pumping repairs and maintenance of $787, and water treatment plant repairs and maintenance of $28,951.04. Distribution repairs and maintenance, $8,704 for that total of $177,163.70. Administration, you drop down your total administration is $31,657,063. Any questions on that page?
What do we have in board expenses?
In what?
Board expenses.
I'll get that before the board members over. Okay, page number 6. Outside services. We have a total of $43,475.49. You can see what's included in there: accounting, engineering, and legal. We have depreciation expense of $198,290.51. Total expense then of $541,311.15. So a net ordinary income loss of $19,408.07. Then you have other income, total other income of $50,250.50, excuse me, can't even speak. Interest loan fees, there they are, this is the interest on all your. So our total other expenses are $64,175.94. Net other income of negative minus $13,975.44. So we had a negative change in net position of $33,383.51. So our net position at the beginning of the period, as restated, was $45,711,175.20. Our change in net position was a negative $33,383.51. So our total net position at the end of the period is $45,677,791.69. Any questions there?
Can I get the invoice for the engineering services?
That would be a board decision. So we need a motion. Make a motion.
This is our fiduciary responsibility to look at invoices.
I think Attorney Monty has stated that you're wearing two different hats.
So I don't get any requests for anything, so when I ask for the credit card statements, I don't get those.
Well, I
So
can't
nobody
say.
wants to look at the credit cards, nobody wants to look at invoices.
You're supposed to be talking to me and not reprimanding them, okay? So if you want that information, make a motion. You have Monty's resolutions, they were all passed by the board. You were the only one who voted no.
I want them, but I'm not going to make a motion, because nobody
Okay.
will second it.
And I think somebody told you that should tell you something. Okay, let's move on.
All right, if you turn to the next page, this is a statement of cash flows. This was created just for the board, so you can see where the money is, you can just see what you got in the bank on cash. So this is from January 1st through April 30th. Net cash provided by operating activities was $816,048. Net cash provided by capital and related financing activities was a negative $700,477. Interest and capital credit income was $196,039. We have an increase in cash and cash equivalents of $311,610. Our cash equivalents at the beginning of the year were $11,892,965, and our cash equivalents at the end of this period, April 30th, 2024, are $12,204,575. So we have total checking, savings, and undeposited funds. This shows you where the money's at, $1,752,294. We have the water cents of $239,805. You have reserve CDs of $2,092,105. You have designated and construction accounts of $6,075,653. Total payment and debt resources of $2,044,718 gives you $12,204,575. Any questions there? Then the next part down below is your operating income loss of 31,000. You have 30 loss or increase of 31,259, and then here's your depreciation. And then it just shows you how we got there, and your net cash used by operating activities is $816,048, and that should match your top number on the top of that page. It shows you where your money's at. Cash in the bank. All right. No questions there. I want you to look for checks written. All right. You were given these checks written every month. Every vendor that we pay is on here. If you see something on here that you disagree with or you have a question on, you need to ask.
So this is every single check we have written for the month.
Yep.
Okay,
Why is it my check on there?
let's make sure that it's not.
My cash check.
Could be just when it came through, I don't know. I don't think any board member's check is on here, is it?
No, mine is, Daryl's is, Austin and Lori, but I don't see Kelly's or Crystal's. So,
For some reason, it's on the aging summary.
I think it's timing, but,
I'll ask Carl.
yep. Okay, any other questions? Do you see anything that you don't understand?
Yeah, the 227,000 that was paid.
To who? Where are you?
222,000 to create a Tonka water. Where does that show up on the expenses?
That shows, the underwater treatment plant. Let's see. This, here we're talking about that.
Page 5.
Oh, that doesn't show up because it's a capital improvement. Because it was completely redone. The green sand filters were completely redone.
So when does that come out in our monthly budget?
It's a capital improvement, and capital improvements are different.
So where does that show up anywhere?
It's
At the end of the year, they try to keep track at the end of the year.
You remember this?
Yeah.
So this would be more than accounting, correct?
But it'll come out, I mean, it comes out of our operating. It's not operating, it's a capital improvement.
Which is
Capital
different
improvements
than-
are different than, they're not an expense. You're capitalizing your assets because you're changing.
So, is there a way we can get a monthly report on how much is coming out of our capital improvement funds? Or can it be added to this report?
That's something I think we want to talk to Brady Martz about. What other capital expenses have we had this year? Is that it?
They have to be over 5,000. And, you know, it has to be, it cannot be replacement, you know, it has to be a total.
Right. So tell us the benefit of,
Just accounting for the $222,000 that came out this month,
Well, it's in the
but where in the
10-year
budget?
plan.
I'd like to see it in, somehow in some sort of budget or some sort of balance that's certain money has been spent out of a certain fund.
okay, your capital improvements are here, right? And then your monthly operating expenses are here.
So it's not under operating expenses?
No, it's not, it's under capital,
It's
okay?
not an operating expense, so it
Right.
will not show here. It's a
So
capital improvement.
I think that's something you need to talk to Brady Martz
I'll
about,
have to ask him,
right?
because I make them print that periodically somehow.
Yeah. That would be my suggestion at this point.
Because at the end of the year, we have to go through, when they're doing the audit, as to what becomes an asset, right? We just had a big discussion about this at our last, when the auditors aren't finished yet, but they were in there, and we were talking, as a matter of fact, we were talking about pumps. And she asked me, I said, well, the jockey pumps doesn't really matter, because they're probably, you know, they're under 5,000 anyway, but the big turbine pumps are, like we had to replace one at the water treatment plant, that's $20,000. And so we were talking about expensing or what is total replacement of it, so the life of it changes, right? So when the life of it changes, the capital improvement. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah. Okay, anything else on the checks here?
How about scholarships? Where do those come out of? Or where are those shown? 'Cause how many scholarships are we handing out this year?
10. We haven't gotten that far yet, but 10.
Did the committee meet yet? Have the applicants been notified?
Okay. Capital, let's see.
Can I see that, that thank you card that was sent around, what was that for? Did that show up under donations? No.
It wasn't a donation, it was an educational piece, and it was paid for by North Prairie, not out of the water sense program, because it was North Prairie giving to the grades, 3rd grade and the 4th grade, educating them on water. The 1st graders got color books that talk about water saving tips, and the 3rd graders got water bottles with stickers that they can decorate them, hydro flask.
I think that's probably, what do you guys think of that? Being able to be supportive in the community and trying at a younger level to educate the kids.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, it's good promotion.
All right. So do we have any other questions on the check detail? If not, can we have a motion to pass the financials?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, a second.
I'll second that.
Austin seconded. Roll call vote to approve. All in favor? Crystal?
No?
Tara?
Yes.
Lori?
Yes.
Austin?
Yes.
Kelly?
Yes.
Okay, finances passed. Now let's go on to old business. Is that where we are? Yes, old business annual meeting. Do we have, are we pretty much set?
I would think so.
I would hope so. Okay,
Do you have sample ballots?
no, that isn't something that, why would you want a sample ballot?
Oh, because last year we had to have a second annual meeting because the first ballot wasn't clear enough.
Oh, rest assured, we learned from that. Nobody will have a copy of the ballots. Let's go on to.
In every other jurisdiction where you vote, you get a sample ballot in the mail.
We're not doing a sample ballot. You'll get the ballot when
If
you
the ballot
register.
exists, it should be given to me.
Under what?
Open records?
Go back to the resolutions.
So now I get no records ever.
Did you read the
Ever
resolution?
again. Is that what that means? Never again, no records.
No, you bring it to the board and you explain why you want it.
So anybody else can ask for it who's not in this boardroom and they will get it. Because it's open record, right? Open.
I don't have it.
I can speak to that.
I would love that, Monty.
So, Director Hendrickson, the board, there's a provision in the Century Code that allows a North Dakota entity to remove a requester's ability to request open records, and the board by motion invoke that provision for 1 year.
Was that the
So-
third provision in that censorship?
That was part of the 3 resolutions that were passed at the special meeting. So your remedy, to the extent that you believe that that's inappropriate, is to appeal that decision to the North Dakota Attorney General.
Okay. Let's go on. Thank you, Monty. Let's go on to new business, the Verizon bill.
That's me.
Yes.
All right, there's been lots and lots of discussion on the Verizon bill.
Okay, I just have one little thing before we start. Here's what you can do with the Verizon bill, guys. So it removes this. I've talked to other businessmen, and what their companies do is they just give them a flat allowance for the month. Because then nobody, your personal doesn't get mixed up with your business. And so, I mean, maybe that's something we look at. Then all you do is you just issue a check every month to the people who have to have a phone, right? Carla controls the data, so as far as the field guys, she monitors that and tells them what's left, right? What they can use.
It isn't just Bill's guys, it's all of us.
Right. But, so she's monitoring that.
Yeah, and we've never been over, so.
So my point is, it would just take away this, right? That's something to think about. Okay, go ahead.
Well, I guess, the big thing is Crystal has stated that there's people on here who the district is paying for, and the district is not paying for them. The policy has been that an employee family can be part of our cell phone bill as long as they pay the monthly bill. We have a government account, and it is much less than a regular account. I have the statements here to show that the district has not paid for a non-employee's account. So that's what Crystal was looking for, and was insinuating that North Prairie was paying for these. And I have all of this together here. I want you to look at these. I'm going to pass them around just to give you an idea. We have, for instance, partial pump station. There wasn't internet there because everything's gone to internet now. We're slowly changing over from the radio read that we're currently doing. So we have a SIM card for partial. And so every time it transmits data, to our SCADA system, it's using data, right? But we gotta do that impartial, so that's on here. And then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 iPads that have a telephone number. The iPads are for the guys in the field. They have to beam up when it contains tons of information, like the mapping, oh my goodness, all the old as-bills. I mean, they use that on a day-to-day basis. And then we have a MiFi, which is, there are areas, Prairie uses it sometimes, the MiFi. We have one of those, and then we had 2 SIM cards. Now this bill is from, the ending date was 5/6 of 24. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cell phones. Okay. There's 9 employees, 9 cell phones. Now, the one before that is January. I have the partial SIM card, I have the iPads, and I have, you will see in orange, I highlighted them, Carla's 3 kids and her husband. I also have wait. I also have, for these 2 bills, I have the deposits, copies of the check. Then I have the bills from August, September, October, November, December, and January, which shows those lines, which shows her check to it.
Monty, can we have you weigh in on this? You've got a lot of No, I mean,
So what's your question?
well, my question is, with your experience with other businesses, is this not something that most businesses do? Most. My experience, that's what I experienced in my career. Companies would do that for you. Go ahead.
Well, I think that there are several, in visiting with Teresa about this, I think that the district over time has adopted some informal policies about these types of things, and my guess is, and I haven't been providing legal services for the board very long, but my guess is that the board has been at various times more hands-off, especially since this is a merged entity with not a long history, and there were other entities before that. So I think that to some extent, what my assessment is that the board over time has allowed the general manager discretion to kind of decide these issues.
Yeah.
And I think that's just fine. I think that to the extent that the board is okay with, my first question is whether or not Verizon is okay with us, the district adding, non-government accounts. And then the other question would be if that's okay, whether or not there's anything in North Dakota law that would preclude it. And again, like most political subdivisions, there are more specific statutory directives Here, the statutory directives are somewhat scarce, and then we have the bylaws, which also are somewhat scarce, and so I think to some extent, whether or not this practice is advisable or not is a matter for the board's discretion. I certainly am not aware of anything in law that would preclude payment and reimbursement. My personal feelings is probably better to separate these things just for the same reasons that what we're going through right now, or what the board is going through right now, the appearance of an issue that may or may not exist. But I think that the board has some discretion in these matters, and what I would suggest is that as these issues come up, if the board believes that they need more attention, that the board would address them with some kind of policy. And so, you know, if the board is going to allow personal cell phone, and if you looked at my opinion, there's an issue of the fact that the board, as I understand it, or the district, it has cell phones that are primarily business phones and cell phones which are both business and personal phones. And I don't think the district has any written policy on that. And so what I would suggest is that this is something that over time the board could ask the general manager to create a policy on cell phones and more clearly stating what that policy is, and if that policy is going to include the ability for family members to be added to the district's plan with reimbursement, kind of what that looks like. But I'm a big fan of formalizing these things so that there's a policy, and then it's a more easy to track over time.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the rest of you, Kelly, Austin, Lori, your thoughts? This is something previous boards had approved.
Previous North Prairie boards?
Was it in any minutes?
I do not know.
Does it show up on the financial statement anywhere, the check reimbursement, or does that show up?
You mean when Carla wrote the check back to North Prairie?
Yeah, it shows up in,
Receivables?
So it's shown as income?
no, it's an in and an out.
Which page?
You're not gonna see it. Because it would be, it's an in and an out. It's
It's a
paid the
pass-through.
same month. It's not.
But our check is written to Verizon in a certain amount.
Our check is not written to Verizon. Verizon is an ACH.
Okay, it's shown in the check details. Where is it shown that we have, that is reimbursed?
I think Austin has them.
What's that?
The reimbursements.
Is anyone not looking at those?
Showed in QuickBooks, it's an in and an out, and it says what it's for, and that's why we take a copy of the check, and that's why it's notated in QuickBooks.
Otherwise, it would be helpful if the board had access to some of that data that was in QuickBooks that doesn't show up on our report here.
Then I think we're crossing lines, board roles. Right, Tara?
It's above our pay grade.
Well, no, just to be clear, the board does have access to that information,
No, I don't.
right?
I never
Well,
have.
the
I've asked for
issue-
it many times.
Again, a single member of the board making demands of the office staff for information and repeatedly making demands from the office staff is not the same as whether or not the board has access to that information. The board ultimately has access to any information of the district that it wants, in whatever form that it wants. The issue, Director Hendrickson, with you is whether an individual board member on her own will decide and direct the office staff, however that board member desires, to basically dance like a puppet on the end of a string whenever you decide you want a piece of information. And these are not the same. These are different things. So I want to be clear, and that's why I'm piping in here, is that the board absolutely, at all times, has complete access and control of all of the records of the district. And there isn't anything that the board as a collection can't see if the board wants to see it. And that's why you have monthly meetings, and the board can direct staff or me to produce whatever records the board wants to look at in whatever form the board wants to look at them. And that is different than an individual member making demands of the office to have access whenever that individual member desires to have them. Those are different things.
Okay. All right, so let's go back to, do we want Teresa to look at this as our general manager and create a policy going forward?
I think it's a good idea.
Okay.
Just to have something.
Okay. So we're gonna have you do that, and you bring it to the board next month. Okay? Well, actually, you don't have to.
I don't think it's appropriate for, because a government agency acts without taxes, or with lower taxes and lower rates. So it's inappropriate to use it for personal gain.
We're a business.
You don't pay taxes, you're paying for this.
Government agency, a government entity, a government entity.
Who is
May not
also a
use-
business.
May not use public funds for personal gain.
Okay,
I believe that was in our original code of ethics. It may even be
the one you
in,
didn't sign.
and I believe it's even in our,
Okay, we pass those records back, please. I haven't.
I have not.
Not taking pictures.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not.
It's a public record, it's a public meeting.
All right, so Teresa, going forward, we're gonna have you create a policy for, the phone. Okay, for family members, however, you see best to do it.
Here, everybody's gonna touch this with a 10-foot pole that looks in my office.
Because of all this.
It's not worth it. It's not worth it for you, the board, it's not worth it
All right.
for any of it. I mean, we can have a policy on phones as far as it's concerned for the general manager, we can do a phone policy, I'm all about that.
All right. Valid point. Let's go on to front office security plans due to the current environment. Okay, do you have, I wouldn't pass anything around. Do you have costs, do you have like an idea?
Yeah.
Okay, why don't you tell us what we can do so our employees can return to having some sense of safety?
Well, this is a base, we have a base bid here of 25,000. Get my glasses on, sorry. 25,350, and I'll show you the plan here so you can see it. It's not making major changes. It's just that you've been in our office, you can just waltz right in and walk anywhere you want to. Most everybody that I know has changed it. SRT changed theirs, Rendry has changed theirs. Doesn't matter if it's MDU or whom it is. I'd like to say that I don't think that this is, this would not be, but in the current environment that we're in, I think it's necessary. And that's, and by law, we're required to provide them a safe work environment.
Would this go under capital improvements?
This would be a capital, because you're improving your building.
It's less than $5,000.
25,350 is less than $5,000.
I didn't know, why would it cost that much?
Why wouldn't it?
And the base bid, you know, you have electrical of $3,800. And then there's $5,500 that is not on here, but, we have USDA funding, right? And they come and inspect our building on, every 3 years, I believe. And they make sure we're handicap accessible, that our bathroom's handicap accessible, that we, do not discriminate, that we have our posters up, that we have on the bottom of every user agreement, if you notice, it asks you what your race is, your ethnicity, all of that. And we have to keep track of that for the government. So they have always said that they would like to see us have an automatic door, right? So when the handicap, right now, currently, my staff, we know who is and who has difficulties, and we try to pay attention, and we run out and we help them, or we open the door, or we might even just run out and get the payment, bring them back out the receipt, whatever works. But the door wouldn't be a total new door, be way more if we did that. Our current door that we have, we can just change it by putting the electrical component up on top, and then there'll be to the right-hand side, there'll be a button you can push, and the same thing on the outside of the brick there. There'll be some conduit to be able to see. And that would be an additional $50. So you're talking about a little over $30,000. And I'll send this around, you can see. The electrical stuff is a new circuit to the reception desk with outlets. If you were to look under our reception desk, there's cords and extension cords and crap running everywhere. You know, back in the day, we didn't have all this stuff. So if you're gonna, might as well fix that too. So I'll send this around, you can look at it.
Do we want to? Yeah.
I'd like
Send
to
her
see
up.
it.
Teresa?
Yes.
And I've not looked at this for North Prairie, but are you familiar with what the state bidding requirements are for a project like this? Do we need to advertise and
Nope.
seek requests for proposals?
We're under the threshold.
Under the threshold? Okay, yeah, and I haven't looked.
The threshold used to be 100,000, it's now 150,000.
Okay,
Why they're looking at that. You wanted those?
I do. Okay, so, a member, he's not here today, but, he gave me the idea. He said, Lisa, create an expense report for the managers. That would be Teresa. We would only be concerned with Teresa's, right? She's concerned with the others. So I took it into her, and mine was kind of shabby. And she said, Lisa, this was created years ago. But the past boards, again, said, no, we trust you, we don't have to see it. So what,
You see the credit cards anyway.
right, yeah. Anyway, this is just credit card charges, okay? So I'll let you take a peek at this. One is April, one is May. She will be doing this every month if there's a credit card charge, because everything else you see on the checks, right? But, like I said, it depends on each board. And now again with this climate, this is where we're at.
And I need to address the $8.99. I had no idea what that was for. Carla and I had, we happened
Oh,
to do
yeah,
that
yeah, I
day,
was
we were
there.
digging for it. And we finally had to
Do we
trace
make
it
a
back.
recurring Apple charge?
That's what,
But it wasn't from Apple. If you don't use the app, or you do use it, whatever. It was for Amazon Prime. That's what it was for.
so,
But that's why it says reimbursement there.
so do you
Just wanted
guys,
you to know that.
so you
We
guys,
didn't know what it was at first, we had to dig deep.
so that now you see, okay, you've got credit card charges, you've got the checks, and you've got the aging, right? And we have a capital improvement plan. So I think we have everything.
Kelly doesn't write very many checks, these are almost right up one after another. These check numbers are in order.
Okay, I have a quick question. Somebody told me that we pay checks electronically.
No, there's no electronic stamp on our checks. When we write a check, it's not, it's rolled through QuickBooks, but Kelly, you signed
Mhm.
the stamp was made for your
Right.
name, right? Which you're all looking at every check every month anyway, you guys.
Okay,
You're looking at the check.
do we need a motion to go forward with this front office security plan?
I haven't had a chance to look at it.
Austin and Kelly?
I'm just reviewing it now.
Just let- okay.
Sometimes it's helpful to print out more than one copy of something.
Okay, so we have everything. The anonymous email, that is my fault. I have copies and, that folder was mistakenly left at home. But I will bring it and read it to you next week.
What does it say? I've received some anonymous emails also.
Oh, and you haven't brought them?
Well, they're anonymous, but I would be happy to read them. What does yours say?
I'll bring it next month. If you bring yours.
I'll read mine. Let me search for it.
The anonymous email was, mine was.
Okay, this was received. April 25th. From none@none.com. See if you can get any background on Jody. Allegedly, he signed a contract that automatically gives him Teresa's position when she leaves. Shouldn't that have been a board decision? The position was never listed. What happened to due diligence to find the best fit for water users? What sort of under-the-table deal was this? Is that true?
I think if someone sends an email anonymously, that tells me something. Why wouldn't you wanna be here? And,
Maybe they're afraid of their job, afraid of getting fired?
that's a,
Retaliation?
that's a leap. I just think it's interesting, if you're not willing to put your name on it, how much validity do you give something like that?
Well, I actually would like to see that. Is there a contract for Jody to get Teresa's position?
Okay, what we started on was an anonymous email, so you must know who this is from.
I do not. I've received two from this person, none@none.com.
Yeah. It's not our job, the board's job to hire. Again, you're crossing lines from the board's role.
You wanted me
into-
to present it to the board.
I said you could read your anonymous email, as I had mine on the agenda, so that was fair. But it's not our role or our job as a board. And those have all been passed out, the board roles, the manager roles, right?
I think in Monty's last opinion, he talked about a fiduciary responsibility.
Do you want him to step in and clarify
I
it
do
for
not,
everybody?
I do not actually.
Well, but you're bringing it up.
No, I was just bringing up something that we've already paid for. We already paid for his opinion, we already got his opinion, we already saw what the opinion said.
So, okay, I guess, all right, so.
So Jody does not have a contract then? Or does Jody have a contract to receive a job after?
I don't believe that's how it reads.
So there is a contract.
I don't think it's really a contract either.
Has the board approved this contract?
Wait a
Has the board
minute,
seen
we
the
just
contract?
said, Teresa is the general manager. The board is here to.
They hire me.
Yes, we hire you and you hire everybody else, okay? So, I said you could read it.
But
Not
are we
as-
obligated to hire somebody that she has said will get her job? Are we obligated to give that person? a job?
I can answer that.
Thank you.
No.
Thank you.
Monty, go ahead.
Yeah. No, the answer is no. I mean, if the general manager position becomes open, the district will have to go through a hiring process that's open, because it's a political subdivision, and so the answer is no, and the board is the one who's tasked with hiring the general manager. So I'm not sure what the issue is, but the board can't hire somebody in secret. So the answer, I think, answers itself, or the question answers itself. If there's not a contract in place for the board to hire a different general manager, we have a general manager.
So, all right, thank you, Monty. So any engineers report? No? Okay. Well, meetings. The meeting is our annual meeting, which is June 4th, Tuesday. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry.
If not, that's fine.
Okay, this plan here, I do think the office is long overdue to redo it, and take in the safety issue, and also the electronic door. Some of us are getting to the age where we want to use that door. So what are your thoughts? Can we have a motion to pass this?
What's the amount?
25,
That's for the total amount.
You gotta add the two together.
yeah, I do. It's gonna be,
Or just give me the two amounts.
okay, two amounts, 25,350 plus
Electrical bid.
the electrical bid of 3,800.
And if you do the door, that's an additional 55.
The door is an additional 50.
Between 5 and 5,500, guaranteed. If you wanna wait for that, he had to get back some information. Or you don't have to do the door at all.
I guess the current situation I see us in, I would like to see like one or two more bids, just so it doesn't show that we're pulling favorites or something else. I guess that's where I'm looking at it from.
Okay, Lori and Kelly?
Yeah, I think that could be appropriate. What's that threshold before needing a bid?
150,000.
Okay.
All right. So then let's make a motion in that form.
I so moved to have two more bids submitted.
Okay, a second?
I'll second that.
All right, all in favor signify by saying aye. Kelly?
Aye.
Austin?
Aye.
Lori?
Aye.
Tara?
Alright.
Crystal? All right. And if you can have them by next month, we'll,
I'll do my best.
I know.
I'm tired of your fees, so.
I know. Sorry. Okay, all right, the next, so our June meeting will be the fourth Tuesday. Can someone give me that date?
So 25th?
Tuesday, that's the fourth Tuesday.
Yeah.
Tuesday, the 25th at 11 or noon? 11 o'clock. Okay. All right, that's all we have. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Sorry, that was the fourth Tuesday, right?
Fourth Tuesday is June 25th at 11. Okay,
Where is that one gonna be?
here,
Here again?
yes. Unless otherwise noted, we will continue during the meetings here. All right? No, she's taking. Thank you, Doug.
The website?